Had a little listen to his podcast, huh?
Dude, it's educational. And besides, I've been wanting to listen to this one.
Welcome to Idling in the Impala, a podcast by and for lovers of supernatural and the fan fiction it inspires. I'm Sandra.
I'm Karlee, and we have a guest with us today. And I know you're all thinking, why is Karlee doing the intro? It's because I found a guest this time. Usually Sandra handles this. But a chance meeting on Twitter put me in touch with the lovely Dani, who was very keen to tell me about the thoughts and feelings she had on the direction. And especially in the last couple of episodes of Supernatural after the COVID lockdown. So I was like, hi, do you want to come and talk to us about it? And they graciously accepted. So we have Dani with us today. Say hi, Dani.
Hello.
Hi. So thank you very much for joining us. For a start off, Sandra, take over. Good Lord. You do the questions.
Well, I think Dani, we wanted to try to start with like when and how you got into Supernatural.
I've been into Supernatural for years, but I wasn't really watching it every week with everyone when new episodes came out because I was just busy with life. Mm-hmm. I started really catching up with it when Despair aired, and that was when I started watching multiple episodes a day, trying to be as caught up as I could when the finale aired. And the last two episodes really interested me because in high school I did broadcast journalism and theater, and I noticed that the last two episodes had a distinct directing difference because they were filmed after the COVID pandemic started.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So when you're saying right after Despair, so did you have a lot of episodes to catch up on, like to get caught up?
About a season and a half.
Okay.
At that point.
Okay.
Oh,
so not too bad.
Too bad.
Or like week, like so you could maybe fit one in like a season into like a week's time or whatever. Okay.
I will have you know, I crammed 7 seasons of Game of Thrones into a week.
I know it's possible. Much, yeah, but I'm just saying in case you didn't want to have to do like
I didn't
24 hours.
want to have to do that.
I knew that the show was airing and I wanted to expedite watching episodes so that I could interact with fans and discuss it in a more meaningful aspect than, I don't know what's going on right now.
Yeah. And probably not want to get spoiled too, right? Like I think because everything was kind of, those were an interesting few weeks. Yeah, I remember. I remember that too. Yeah.
When
Karlee and Dee and I, our friend Dee, we were watching together, and then we would but we had different times to do it too. So like someone would watch it first, and then we'd be like, well, I'm going to wait until this. So don't talk about it on the chat until we're like all together. And it was very hard. It was very hard to figure all that out. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause you wanted to watch it with your husband. So you'd watch it the day after. I didn't get it until after midnight UK time. So I wouldn't see it until the next morning anyway. And then Dee was just off in Australia time, and I don't know where she got it. But I just remember going, I'm not going on the timeline. Nobody tell me what's happening on the timeline. I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, because it was dangerous. I mean, you just couldn't set foot into anything really social media related, or you were gonna get spoiled. So it was.
Oh yes, I knew what happened in Despair when it aired because it was trending on Twitter and everybody was freaking out about it. Now, I don't mind spoilers. I just didn't try to spoil myself on purpose, but I was aware that it was very easy to spoil myself.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess maybe going back to, because you were talking about your experiences in theater and broadcast. Can you talk a little bit about that, like when you were younger, and how that kind of maybe affected or colored, I guess, your view of a lot of entertainment in general? But I mean, in particular, we could talk about Supernatural as that relates.
As for broadcast journalism, I started that my sophomore year of high school, and I eventually became the senior editor of the show because I was the one putting everything together on the computer, typing it out, helping the novices as they came into the show, sophomore, junior, senior year. It was a little bit of an easier transition than theater, which I initially took to fulfill an elective requirement, but realized I really liked it. I got cast for a play, and I did a lot of tech work from sophomore to senior year. So doing the work that I did with theater, it was like I literally got to see how the magic happened and what everybody did behind the scenes to make the entertainment that people saw sitting in front of the play or whatever it was we were putting on.
Absolutely. I always find that interesting when people don't really understand all of the nitty gritty, like behind the scenes to put something together, because I know over the years, I've gotten interested in understanding a little bit about all the different parts, the writers, the crew, the cinematography, all of those different parts that make something come together. And like, my husband will be like, if I say somebody directed something, he's kind of thinking they also wrote it, or so it's very interesting to think about how people don't parse out all of the different pieces that make something work like that. It's a lot. I mean, just hearing about Supernatural in general and the crew and how the close knit, over the years, but that there were like hundreds of people, who had jobs and a living, because of a show like that. And it became a consistent job, a consistent, way of life. And I always find that interesting too, how much of a family they say was built around that too. Did you get that experience even in high school, like the working together with people and feeling very, very close knit? Or was it kind of just like, I think you'd said earlier, like you kind of just have to, be very quick on your feet to work with
broadcast journalism? Yes, because a lot of the people that started with it stayed with it until they graduated high school. We didn't have very many people that dropped out from the Daily Show. I mean, we had some, but we didn't have very many. With theater, for the duration of the play, yes, we did kind of have some people come and go just because they needed to fulfill elective requirements, or they were in drama club because they thought it would look good applying to colleges. It was less of a family, surprisingly, and for the theater side of it than it was broadcast journalism, but it was still a very enjoyable family.
Okay. Well, that's good. I'm glad you had a good experience with that.
Yeah.
You said you did some tech stuff too. So I'm going to go straight into, before we even get to the COVID part too, because I love the episode Fan Fiction. Karlee does not.
I'm never going to get away from this fucking episode ever.
So my question,
every list she makes, it fucking comes up on, what's the funniest comic episode? Fan fiction. What's your favorite episode? Fan fiction. Carry on.
So I'm assuming, I was never in theater, but I'm assuming maybe someone who was in theater in high school would probably have enjoyed that episode for lots of reasons. I don't know if you wanted to talk a little bit about that episode, maybe what you liked, what you didn't. I know that Fan Fiction was directed by one of the directors that I personally enjoy a lot on Supernatural, and that's Phil Sgriccia. I just think he does a really good job with a lot of different episodes, and in particular, I think he does well with the outside of the box episodes, the ones that maybe aren't like in the bunker or aren't just like a monster of the week, but have a lot of like maybe bigger feel or a lot of dynamics in terms of the sets or different locations kind of scenario. So yeah,
he directed the episode where Jensen stabbed Jared.
Wait a minute, which one did he?
It was a blooper, it wasn't. He directed the barn showdown with Kane.
The Executioner's song, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So when Jensen comes down the stairs and he goes to collapse and Jared catches him, it wasn't a prop blade that Jensen was holding and just very gently stabbed him in the knee.
Okay.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Fan Fiction is one of my favorite episodes, but I really appreciate like the campy stuff. Like growing up, I loved Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And that was kind of what I compared it to, because if you enjoy the campy stuff, you'll enjoy off the wall episodes like that. So I love it, but I can kind of see why people don't like it. Like if they thought MMPR was way too campy, then I can see why they wouldn't like it.
Well, for Karlee, there's no singing in Super.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Pay no heed to my bitching. Like it's just an episode that I don't like musical episodes in any TV show. Like if I want to watch musical things, I'll put a musical on, so it gives me all the cringe. So ignore my bitching. You absolutely fangirl away about it. I just think there's no singing in Supernatural. That's all I'm saying.
Like we had had an entire season full of it, I probably would have complained. Or if it had turned from supernatural to being something that it wasn't, like something incredibly campy. But just for me, one episode was nice and fun, and it was certainly entertaining.
I really liked I like this the sets, like the props. I was like, you know, and I know it was for a television show, but I was just impressed by, you know, like the demon coming out, like the smoke monster and stuff. And I was just like, what was it? Just like a really big scarf or something that just kept like flying out from behind, and the car, and like just different things like that, or the way they had Mary on the ceiling. It was very inventive, and I think it kind of captures what it's like to have to put together just a show that the kids were working on in general. And I was impressed by the actors, the young actors on, you know, that episode as well. I thought they did a really good job, and, you know, playing Sam and Dean and Cass, and, you know, I mean, we got a little bit of everybody. We got Bobby. It was great. I really did like that episode. But okay, I'll stop fangirling about that one right now. I just wanted to get into a little bit, then fast forwarding all the way to the final, like the final 2 episodes. What were your thoughts immediately? Like, was it an immediate thing? Was it quite jarring at first? Like, did you automatically go like, oh, this is something feels really off in the directing of the episode? Were there a lot of things about the last 2 episodes, or was it mainly just, did that play a factor in the overall feeling of the last 2? It felt like it was
different, especially Inherit the Earth. Like, to me, the first thing that jumped out is the blocking, because I knew that was the first episode they filmed after the pandemic started. And if you take the time to watch the entire thing through, especially once you know about it, you can see that almost all of the characters in Inherit the Earth are standing as far apart from each other as they can, while still telling the story to you and selling the story. I'm not saying that the actors did a bad job, because the actors did do a good job. But if you compare that to other episodes, especially the physical closeness that Sam and Dean have had the entire series through, being brothers and being as close as they are, compared to when Sam, Dean, and Jack are walking down the empty road, and when they're walking around taking inventory of how empty the earth is after Chuck essentially wiped it, you can really see that the physical distance between the actors was quite present.
Yeah, I did notice that, where especially even like the very first scene, right? Like when they're just in the street, like usually they would be a lot closer discussing what was going on, but instead they were like definitely 6 feet, 6 feet or so apart. And yeah, you're right. Like when they were walking away from camera down the street, it was very, you kind of, you don't get that feeling of closeness like you would normally do. I feel like the only 2 that were really ever close together would have been Sam and Dean, and they probably just had them, you know, as a little, almost like a little pod within the group. I would think that, you know, like, well, you know, Jared and Jensen will probably be closer together, but everybody else has got to keep their distance or something like that. Yeah,
it was like that. They had like little groups of different like crew and cast, and you stayed with your sort of people to try and, you know, keep everybody apart. I remember them talking about that.
And the only real exception to that was when Jack absorbed Chuck's powers. You can see his arms just like reaching out as far forward as they'll go so that they can maintain distance, and that it kind of amused me. But I was like, if they had waited to come back, maybe they could have done everything they wanted to do the first time around.
Yeah.
See, I think it's so funny that you can see that in the last 2 episodes where they're like, no, 6 feet, and then everybody crams on that fucking bridge at the end with no masks, and they're all like, oh, let's breathe each other's air. This is gonna be great.
Yeah. And I'm also figuring now, like, I mean, it never made sense to me before why you would have the bad guys that were vampires have masks on, but now I'm like, well, duh, they probably just did that because of COVID. Like they were probably wearing masks behind them, and so that they could actually do those fight scenes and really get close, for like that last barn scene. Now that's kind of making more sense now, even though I didn't like that idea at all. But now I'm like, okay, how do you get around something? Because
we all know
that was very close.
Waiting.
Yeah.
I didn't like the masks either on the vampires, because that was the very first thing I noticed. I was like, they're wearing masks to hide masks from COVID. I just noticed it, and I fixated on it mentally the entire fight scene.
Oh gosh, man. Karlee has expressed the same sentiment about just wanting to wait, like not understanding why they didn't. I mean, you can go back and forth with that too. I think a lot of people probably were just like, well, we've got to get this wrapped up. And, Jared was getting ready to start a show, and I'm sure Jensen was, I think everybody was kind of ready to try to move on to other things. But yeah, if they had waited, even just a few months longer, I think they would have had a lot more freedom. Restrictions would have been loosened, probably a little bit more, and there would have been an easier way to get some of those things done. I was amazed that they had so many extras floating around in the background and Inherit the Earth. I was just like, well,
they were all 6 feet apart though, but they were there.
Yeah, it's just a lot of people, And again, that just gets into more questions about the last 2 episodes too. But yeah. So when you say blocking, for those who aren't in the know about the term blocking, what does that mean? For
the
a
position
scene
that the actors take and have on the set, and the movement of the actors on the set.
And who's normally in charge of figuring that out? Is it a director, or is it a director telling somebody block this way and block this that way? How does that work?
I want to say the director, because that wasn't really something that I dealt with a whole lot. But if they had to change parts of the actual episode, like parts of the actual plot to accommodate, then that probably would have involved more people. Because I know about the group on Tumblr that collects supernatural scripts, and I noticed, I think they have one of the scripts of the final 2 episodes, and I could see on down the line there were changes made after COVID, and I didn't really look at the script because I didn't have time to look at the script, but I kind of wondered what those changes might have been and how many people would have had to be involved in changes, especially of that magnitude. Like, my thing has always been, if they should have just waited to come back until they could do everything that they wanted to do, like having Kansas in the final episode, having Dean meet up with more people that he was close to that had already died in the Roadhouse, that kind of thing.
Do you have any particularly favorite episodes of Supernatural that you think primarily are due to, say, the direction? Because I mean, I know we could go on and on about just certain episodes.
Weekend of Bobbies.
What? Yeah.
Richard, I'm probably going to butcher his last name. Richard Speight.
Richard Speight.
Speight. Yeah.
I love his episodes. I love the episodes that I don't really connect them to the names of directors, but I connect them to what they do in the episodes that they directed. The bunker episodes, the out of the box episodes, the ones where they're not doing the same exact thing over and over again. Like, we see Sam and Dean in different situations. I like the variety, even though we all know what kind of show Supernatural is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like Baby in season 13, where it's all filmed from the point of view of the car, is probably quite a good example
that
of that
one.
Then. Because I know everybody loves that episode for different reasons, and the night move scene and everything. But I was kind of like that it all came from the car, and you didn't get any. It was all the car's POV. She deserved an episode. She's a good car.
Yes.
And I also don't. And I guess I should have done a little bit more research too about like the baby episode, because I'm wondering too, like how much that had to do initially from the screenwriter, saying it's all going to be from inside Baby. And then how does a director, make that happen? And that director, because that's one of the directors I wrote down on my list, was Thomas J. Wright. And I felt that it's kind of great when a director can film something with a very limited amount of resources and still make it feel very like fresh and fun, and come up with all of these different ways to show you something, but like with parameters, like even with Sam and Dean sleeping in the car, right, Karlee? I mean, weren't they saying, I think, that they had to open up the doors or whatever, like really like to let the boys like fit a certain way because they couldn't quite fit like when they were sleeping and they had that upper shot or something.
Yeah.
I love the
I
commentary
so.
on that. If you haven't listened to the commentary of it, it's great because it's the director and the screenwriter talking about it, and
that's
just
fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
that
I
they
think
were like, we had to open the doors and everything because they wouldn't fit, but we hid an entire Sam in the back seat and you didn't see a fucking inch of him. No jeans, no flannel, no hair. We hid all in the back seat, but we couldn't get them both to fit in the car.
I like how some people underestimate how many different versions of baby that there are too, because they kind of have to cut into the car or take the windows down to get certain shots, and people who aren't really in the theater just assume they stick the camera in and call it a day.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
My husband's actually very like, we are doing a rewatch now, and we're on season 3, and I know it's like around season 3 when you lose, I think, baby with the spotlights on the side, and I think they took the spotlights off because it was limiting the shots, like in how they could film around that. So I think they took them off.
50% that, and 50% Jared Jensen
was Jared messing with it all the time. Yeah, I could see that.
There are so many videos where you see them going, oh yeah, the car had this and this and this, and they stripped it out because we wouldn't stop fucking around with it. So like they stripped out like the interior, the radios, everything from the cars, because anytime you leave those two alone, they're like, oh, what can we fuck around with?
Yeah. So what was it that kind of drew you to Supernatural in the beginning, Dani, like watching the show?
Well, part of it was because this is going to sound awful, but part of it was because I kind of got bored because I was caring for my mom with chronic health issues. And my mom and dad, because I lived with them and I still live with my dad, paid for Netflix, and they're like, you can go ahead and watch whatever you want. And I started watching it. And it was really funny because my mom had no idea I was watching Supernatural. She turned on Netflix and saw all of my most recent shows. And she's like, she literally said, what the hell is all this? And I had to explain it to her. And she literally died on the hill of, I can't believe you like these shows. And yeah, me and my mom were like oil and water, basically, but in an amusing way. And I started watching it, like I said, because I was bored. And then I kept watching it, and I kept coming back to it, even though obviously life and being busy got in the way of that. And I think at one point my mom bought me like one of the single seasons of Supernatural on DVD. I don't know if it was like an apology for what she said, or just, I was at Walmart, here you go. But she did.
Oh, that's nice.
Cute. I love that.
Nice.
Mums being anti-Supernatural since 2005. I love that. That's
also
cute.
knew this. I try not to drag shipping into it, but she knew about Destiel because she asked somebody about it on the internet because I was watching Supernatural. And she said something about, I know about the angel and the hunter, so just shut up.
Oh my God.
I didn't even say anything at all. I didn't talk to her about Supernatural other than, yeah, I'm watching it. And then she's like, I know about the angel and the hunter, so just shut up.
Oh goodness. Oh my gosh.
So we won't get into shipping, but I have to ask, are you like Camp Dean? Am I carrying the weight of Sam on my own again? Or are you more of a Sam girl? Do you have a preference?
I like Dean.
Sake. That's great. That's great. I am only teasing. That's awesome. Everybody loves Dean. Sam is fucking heavy.
My youngest son likes Sam. I've watched several episodes with him on my lap. Okay. I kind of go through and try to find ones that are the most child friendly. He's 12, autistic and nonverbal. He likes Sam, Crowley, and Gabriel.
That's a good trio.
Taste.
That's a good trio. It's a very good trio.
And he's brought me the iPad before and like literally poked Netflix on the screen and held it up like, I want to watch.
Oh,
That's adorable.
That's awesome. So is there, because we actually were just talking about some episodes and that we find like very funny. Are there certain episodes that your son likes that are more like on the fun side? And what are the attitudes about clowns?
He doesn't mind clowns at all.
Okay.
He's not afraid of them, but he loves Crowley. And I think I joke around and I say he got it from his mama because he literally did. Like the sense of humor is on the nose.
Aww.
I think Crowley reminds him of me.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. You can get on board with that.
Oh, nice.
I love that.
Like the chaotic good kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did you feel?
Cool.
So did you also like Crowley, or do you now have more of an affinity for Crowley because your son
A little
likes
bit of
Crowley?
both. Like I didn't hate him. I've never hated him, but once I noticed that my child was developing an interest in Crowley, I was like, well, he's not that bad. And then when season 12 rolled around, I was like, I'm sad Crowley's gone.
Yeah, I was going to ask because I know that was that was a character. We've talked about characters. I mean, just in general, just how they were treated wrongly by the show. But I know Crowley in particular was for me one that I thought was going to come back in one shape or form or another. Yes. And was always very surprised that was the one holdout that never did come back. Even though they found ways to bring a lot of other characters back, but not Crowley. So
and his manner of death, like knowing that the spell required a human life, and then just bye boys, and that was it.
Yeah.
They did him dirty, and they did Mark dirty as well, which is kind of worse. Yeah, I think.
Yeah. Did you because I know the storyline with Crowley too. I felt like they didn't know what to do with him the last few seasons too. So I feel like it was kind of like he was petering out, and not in a way that maybe the actor was particularly fond of, in terms of storyline either. But yeah, I was disappointed in how they just kind of like didn't know what to do with him after a while, because he was such a great character. He would like chew up scenery, and then he was just kind of in the background for the occasional quip or whatever.
He was like a quite a forceful and a really authentic bad guy, and then they just turn him into like comic relief, and then he's wasted on that. You need him to be doing something.
I think they knew that he was going to leave at the end of season 12, but they didn't know how to pace gradually phasing him out of the show.
Pacing's a thing with Supernatural too.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about the way a season will kind of like play out? I kind of feel like they started getting into this routine of like, okay, well, let's take care of what we had, at the ending of the last season. Let's wrap it up like within the first 3 episodes. Then let's throw out a bunch of things that have to get taken care of, and then just kind of forget about it. And then let's hurry up and finish within the last 2 or 3 episodes kind of thing. It was just like they just didn't know when they needed to settle on one particular thing. I think some seasons were just jam-packed with way too many things. And then they would just like, I don't know, what's the term, Karlee, faff about or whatever. Like, just like, let's just do a monster. Let's just do a monster hunt monster. Like when there were some seasons that needed, work on the arc or the plot, what's underneath. So I don't know if you had any thoughts on that.
You mean,
I think 15 was jam-packed because they knew that it was ending at 15. So they wanted to impress everyone. And then at the very end, it's kind of funny. They say only 30% of people will like the finale.
Yeah.
You mean y'all didn't want a Monster of the Week episode within the last 6 seasons of the last 6 episodes of the last season of the show? Really?
I was not happy about that.
And season 15 was the least cohesive season for me.
And as a tech point, I mean, the rebar incident, just being someone who worked on tech and theater, I could tell. I'm like, they took a pillow and jammed it up against the rebar. In my head, that's what I'm doing repeatedly. They took a pillow and went bonk. Like I saw that, and that was what my head fixated on. And then like, oh yeah, there's things happening on screen.
Yeah, but you just can't see past this one really like really shitty like visual effect, and you're just like, oh,
yes,
no, yeah, no,
yeah.
I don't know what it was about 15. They were like, shit, we've got so much to wrap up and fix, and then they made more questions than they answered. With the ending, I'm like, but what about everybody? Did Jack put everybody back? What, are there still monsters? I have questions.
I wondered about the alternate universes too, because then that leads into the Winchesters. Did Jack put all of the alternate universes back, or how does that work?
Yeah,
Karlee had thoughts on that, because I didn't even think about all the other alternate universes besides, like, but yeah, that, Karlee, what was your thought process on the alternate universe thing?
I can't remember.
I think you had said that Jack would have fixed everything, but not have understood how much was actually there. You know what I mean?
Jack didn't. I think it was that Jack probably fixed all the AUs, but he didn't fix the Accreta because he didn't know that they were a thing. Maybe. I see Jack putting everything back together the way it was. I don't know. It's
just too much sometimes. And I get it too, because Supernatural has, grown into this massive like world building mess, of stuff. And it's like picking and choosing kind of whenever they need it. But yeah, it just kind of like leaves a lot of questions for a lot of things. And I think the final season was, again, like a love letter to, the whole series. So I think they made a point of bringing a lot of actors back and directors back, and just like, giving people that, oh, this is what the fans will love to see this, or the fans will love to see this person, or let's make this reference.
Yeah.
And I think they kind of just lost
what we all wanted, guys, was Baby Dean being an absolute colossal dick to Baby Sam for a whole episode in a flashback within the last like 6 episodes, because we weren't all sitting on the edge of our seats going, fuck, what's gonna happen. And then they're like, Aya, do you remember that time in the 80s? No, I don't fucking care. Actually, I wanted to ask Dani, on the back of the cushion in the rebar, did you watch the Winchesters?
I haven't watched it yet, because I told myself that I wanted to wait until the end of season 1 to see how they sold it being so different from what we know of John and Mary in Supernatural. And everybody kind of went at the beginning, oh, it's going to be an alternate universe, so they're going to do a mind wipe. And sure enough, it was an alternate universe. So I'm kind of torn, because I love the cast and I love they're all phenomenal actors, but I'm kind of torn how they just went, oh, alternate universe, that explains everything.
Oh, right. I was going to ask what you thought about the visual effects and the makeup and costumes and everything, because oh boy, they were
not much better than what I think Supernatural was doing towards.
Well, there's 2 things that I noticed: the orange kind of glow on everything. You could see that in like when they made this kind of summary of season 1 and put it on YouTube. And then when the demon goes rolling and you see her cord behind her for like a whole half a second, I'm like, that never got edited out at any point. I was laughing about that. I was practically rolling on the floor laughing. I was laughing hysterically over that when I saw it.
Do you know, Karlee, what Ted caught in one of the episodes was that there was an episode where they were in a carnival. There was nobody on any of the rides. Did you clock that in that one episode, Karlee?
I can't say I did.
Because Ted was like, nobody's in any of them. Like, maybe liability insurance, or just like, let's just put some things there, but let's not have anybody ride them. So yeah,
do you know,
that's what I was thinking too. But I mean, at that point, it's like so much stuff was being allowed to happen that
I
don't know. So
all
weird.
I can think, genuinely, all I can think is like the Winchester's finale was filmed in like 2020, I think. The Supernatural finale, the Winchesters obviously filmed over the last few months and stuff. And I'm like, all I can think of is when I rewatched the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie with my husband a few months ago. And at one point, Robert Englund goes over like the banister of some stairs and you see him land on the mattress. Like they don't even try and cut it out of frame or anything. It's like right there, the mat that he lands on. And I'm like, we've come nowhere. It's been like 40 odd years. We've moved nowhere. Yeah. No, you will have to let us know if you do end up watching the Winchesters, what you think about all the, especially the monster design, because it was, so bad.
Yeah.
I've heard about that. Like I've kept kind of up to date on the general things that happened. I know about the golem. I know they used the golem in one episode, and the way they handled that was just so substantially different from the way Supernatural handled it. And it was like, they could have leaned on the Supernatural episode, which was, in my opinion, very well written. And the Winchesters was just way off base.
Yeah. And now they can kind of get away with it by saying, well, you know, alternate universe. So rules are a little bit different.
Yeah. I spent the whole, Sandra was sick of hearing it because I waited like in the middle of the Winchesters for like quite a few episodes. So then I was like, right, it's the season finale like this week and we're gonna watch. So she was just getting messages that were just like, and this is fucking wrong and that's fucking wrong and why is it like this, and they just subbed this out for this, and that's not how ghost possession works. So they just, obviously they all knew that it was meant to be an AU, but I'm just like, you could have filled the rest of us in. A lot of needless rage could have been prevented. I wouldn't have screamed so much about so much stuff if I'd have known.
Yeah.
I mean,
Carlos and the hair thing. He
was so
on vampires.
And I thought it was cute. Even though I knew it wasn't something he did, but I thought it was cute. I like the hair. I felt like a hair commercial to me when he was just.
Don't get me wrong. I love Carlos. I love his hair. I love everything about it. But vampires aren't weak to fucking holy water.
Yes, exactly.
And people who are possessed by ghosts, you can't have a chat with the ghost. It's not a demon possession. You can't just be like, oh no, I would like to talk to the deceased spirit that is inhabiting your body. The Akrita were basically demons. They just stubbed at it. Oh, don't even get me started.
Yeah, Dani. If you do ever watch, you'll have to let us know what you think. But it's I think overall, I felt like it was just, if at the end, it's almost like watching all of it for the final episode kind of just felt like a fix-it for those of us who maybe weren't particularly happy with the ending to Supernatural, at least for, I think, maybe Dean, Jensen's wanting something for like some finality, not really, but, a different way for Dean's story to, I guess, continue maybe like in a way that Supernatural didn't really give, I think. So yeah, it's lots of opinions. Lots of opinions. Yes, indeed. Lots of feelings and opinions. Do you feel like the maybe theme of it overall changed with the direction? Like maybe from the first few seasons to maybe like towards the end, how it was filmed?
Like seasons 1 through 3 were pretty phenomenally different than 13, 14, and 15. Like none of them were so awful that they would have made me stop watching the show. But like one of the things that kind of got me was you could watch the pilot, you could watch the very last episode, and if you knew nothing else about Supernatural, you would not be that confused. And that kind of got me.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's mainly because of Sam and Dean. I think if you were going to do that, I actually did do that with my husband. Like once I was like, let's just watch the pilot and then let's watch the finale. You see, I think, a through line there, which is really just the brothers. When you kind of get down to it, with that part of it, at least at the bare minimum, and you don't think about the vamp mimes and all that stuff. Yeah. But I do think like there felt like it was just more moody. I know that one of the directors, Kim Manners, he like in the first few seasons. He was also like a director of the X-Files. So I feel like a lot of those episodes kind of like emulated that gritty, dark, like the shadows, lots of shadows. And then all of a sudden you get into like maybe season 6, season 7, and it's like, hey, bright. Everything's bright.
Yeah.
Everything's like not sunny, but at least a little bit brighter than I think the first few seasons. So
no, I think my only question is, obviously Jensen's quite famous for directing a few episodes of Supernatural. Just like anything about his directing style that you're like, yes, all of that, get more of this, or just any thoughts on Jensen as a director in general? Because I find it interesting. He didn't direct any episodes of The Winchesters. I just went and checked. And I'm like, this was your baby. Maybe, I
think he was too busy doing everything else.
I did like the episodes he directed, especially, I think, what was the name of it? Atomic Monsters, the one in season 15, with the gritty red. And you can see at the very beginning of the episode, he's got a beard. He's thematically different from later on in the episode. Like, you can definitely see the contrast between him at the beginning and then normal Dean.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to find the name of the episode he directed. What was it? Yeah, Soul Survivor is my favorite of with Demon Dean, because God damn, does he know how to direct himself?
I mean, I guess you can't go wrong with directing him. So I think he just knows, any angle's going to work. But yeah, Soul Survivor. And I think one of the things too was like any episode that he did direct, usually he didn't have a big role in. So I think Soul Survivor was maybe the one that he had like the most acting to do in any of the episodes that he was in. There might have been there was like that one that I really didn't like too much. It was called Heartache. In season 8, the storyline was he looked really good in it. I think he was wearing a white shirt in one of the scenes that he directed. Again, can't go wrong with that. But yeah, Weekend at Bobby's, like Sam and Dean were kind of like in the, they were the background. They were the B plot, and it was all about Bobby, Rufus, and stuff. And I think he did a great job for a first go around with Weekend at Bobby's. It was
that too.
It was a really good one. Really good one. Yeah, that one, Soul Survivor. And yeah, Atomic Monsters, just for anything, just that first scene was really, really impressive. I like the singles. I like the long single shots. When you can do that with actors and the director can really pull that off, I kind of find that impressive. I almost felt like he was doing a little, like maybe an homage. I don't know if anybody's ever watched like Daredevil, but I remember like those scenes in the Marvel show on Netflix, like there'd be long shots that they would, down a hallway or going down the stairs, like action scenes. And I felt like he was kind of doing his own little version of that. And really good job with choreography and everything, and handling the movements and stuff with the actors. That takes a lot to be able to act and direct the scene, and then be able to like reset and get back to, okay, I have to remember this and this, and tell this person this, and do all that. So yeah, he's done a pretty decent job. He's a pretty good director.
Yeah.
But
no, that was my only thing. You got any sort of final thoughts, Dani?
Another humorous thing I kind of noticed as a theater kid, well, a few of them, I kind of noticed that some people overestimate like sets. Like they think you can just walk on a set or like walk in the bunker and all of the bunker is there instead of like just cutaways. I noticed that. And they kind of, I don't know if it's overestimate or underestimate the light. Like when I was doing makeup for some of the plays, we would get some males who you basically had to convince to allow them to allow you to put on foundation, and so the lights wouldn't wash them out, and you had to explain that to them, and some of them did not understand for the life of them that you have to wear makeup on set, like because it looks so good on television. They didn't think like anybody wore makeup on set, and those were just a few amusing things that I picked up from theater.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, Dean makes reference to that in The French Mistake, and it's like,
I'm
like
a painted
kind of
whore.
painted whore, like just amazed he's got a makeup put on him. And we were talking about cutaways. One of the episodes we just watched in season 2, Hollywood Babylon, which is on the set of like a horror movie, and I think one of the scenes, the way it ends, or the way the gag at part of it is just like they go into what they think is a cabin, but then they think they've locked themselves away from the ghost, but then the camera pulls back and you see that there's literally there's no backside to the cabin. It's all open because there's a big cutaway to it, and the guys are like, crap, like what do we do now? So that kind of thing. So yeah, I like how, I guess, like the magic of it kind of gets broken down too, and in the meta way that they explore certain episodes too. I think they kind of give you that insight, so that's always fun. That's always fun too. Yeah,
like they do the set so well, you think you can literally just walk on them and they're all completely there.
Oh, but my heart was breaking, and I mean, I still don't. I mean, I'm sure there's a reason behind it, but just the demolishing of the bunker in general, like all of the pieces just getting like torn and broken, and that to me is just like, I was like, why wouldn't they try to salvage pieces of that to eventually go somewhere? Like I would think you'd want to.
They did because they gave I know Jared has a piece of the bunker along with a call sheet and his little tape marker and stuff, so they did give away parts of it to certain people.
But I would guess I was thinking more like in terms of like almost like a museum. Like, I don't know, I've been to like the Titanic exhibit, right? And like there's like the whole staircase thing that's like, so it's like something somebody could actually interact with, that would still be a part of it, like even the
thinking like Hobbiton.
Yeah.
When they remade Hobbiton for The Hobbit and they made it to be real and you could go and I
mean, I know they could always rebuild it. I don't know. I mean, Universal.
They're going to ship it down to the Ackles garage.
Well, Universal Studios, isn't that owned by Warner Brothers, and Warner, I think, CW? I don't know. If you can do a Harry Potter and stuff, why can't you make like a little supernatural
Harry
section?
Potter is worth so much money.
I know. Okay.
Yeah.
I know.
I would go to Supernatural World over Harry Potter World.
I would. Supernatural Village, Supernatural Town, Supernatural whatever. I would go.
It would have been nice if they'd have been able to make that in a way that, maybe you could have gone and toured it or something afterwards. But
yeah. Well, on that note, now I've made everybody sad. I apologize.
Dani's just there like, that is not how any of this, you can't do that. That's not, it's in about 17 different pieces. There's not one whole room in the thing.
Oh. Well, Dani, I want to thank you for coming on.
Yes, thank you so much.
And talking to us about directing and Supernatural and all that good stuff. And if we have another certain topic that you might be interested in coming to talk about, we will certainly reach out and see if you're interested.
That works.
Good.
Awesome.
Good. Sounds good. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us. Have a good evening.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
So it's only an hour. You get to go to sleep after we do. True.
Get to go to bed.
All right. So we want to thank Dani for coming on and talking to us about Supernatural. I want to thank Karlee
educating us.
Staying up so late.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It is, for anybody who is curious, it is currently 3:30 in the morning, and I will stress again. I have had no sleep. I slept for about, I think I saw maybe 2:48 in the morning, last night, and then I was up again at 6:30. And I was like, I'm going to go back to bed. And then I didn't end up going back to bed. And then I went back to bed in the afternoon.
You are a trooper.
And then there was just other things that happened. So I had to get back up. And then I maybe got another couple of hours. So
the things
the plan
you do
was
for this podcast, I'll tell you.
The plan was to nap, but then every time I thought about napping, I was like, yeah, but I could just do this.
Yeah.
And then by the time I was done with all my just do this, it was like 1 a.m. And I was like, well, I'm going to just
Well,
yeah. But thank you to Dani for coming and educating us, because I know nothing. Everything I know about behind the scenes comes from like the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit extras.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's my whole experience.
All right, I'm starting to fade too, so we're definitely going to wrap up this episode.
Oh no, what time is it for now? Is it
it's 10:30 here.
Babe.
I know. I'm suffering so badly with this. Hey, my almost 50-year-old ass does not do well. So we'd love to hear your thoughts. If you have any favorite episodes, favorite directed episodes, favorite directors, feel free to let us know your thoughts on that. If you want to reach out to us, you can email us at idlingintheimpala@gmail.com or reach out to us on Twitter at idlingintheletterd_impala. If you'd like to make your voice a mail, check the descriptions for a link to send us a voice message. You can find links to our personal socials and our AO3 accounts in the description. And there's also a link to my author website with my original fiction.
And we have a website now, guys, like a whole website just for us. Yay! So check out idlingintheimpala.com. That is where all of our merch will be going forward. We actually, at time of recording, have new merch. And if you have a con coming up and you think, I want something interesting to wear in my photo op with Jared or Jensen, we got you. We got shirts that say, I hug Jensen in this shirt and I hug Jared in this shirt. And if you are of a creative bent in any particular way, we also have, well, it's my writing sort of, I can't think of the word because it's really late.
Your mantra?
But like my mantra, maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
My work, my stories, my fics are finished when I fucking hate them. When I can't stop to look at it anymore and I hate it, that's when it's done. So we have that on the shirt as well. It's finished when I hate it. And that could be if you're a writer of fanfic, original fiction, anything, any kind of creative, we got the shirt for you. So idlingintheimpala.com. That is where you will find us. And all our merch is there. There's some behind the scenes information about me and Sandra. There's YouTube stuff, Spotify stuff, all of the social links, all that good stuff. So go and check it out. Let us know what you think of the website. Let us know if there's anything you'd want to see on there or, something there that shouldn't be. Let us know. Feedback. Also, don't forget, comment, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. Wherever you access your podcasts, give us a thumbs up or the equivalent thereof wherever you are. And especially if you're on YouTube, guys, give us a like and a comment as well. It really helps with the algorithm. It gets us seen, all hail YouTube algorithm gods. And also, good Lord, this outro is going on forever. In the description, you will find the current causes that we are championing. Check them out if you can, if you're able, if you want to. Maybe give a little bit of a donation. Times are hard right now. Every little bit helps. And with that, we will say thank you for joining us in the back seat, and we will see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.